morning, ladies and gentlemen. Gareth from BTA here. How are you today? Good, thanks. Aquatic News International for this week. I'm sorry, it's a day late. The weekend was packed. Went to a wedding, went to a 40th. Yeah, it was really good. Okay, so some news articles from the last week. $345,000 SIU study focuses on how to keep farmed largemouth bass from eating each other. Study funded by the United States Department of Agriculture aims to find ways to reduce cannibalism in farmed largemouth bass. Researchers at Southern Illinois University will investigate various aquaculture methods to prevent cannibalism and promote healthy growth in farmed largemouth bass. Now, especially in regards to some of our native fish species, especially the Australian bass, Murray cod, barramundi even, this research could potentially have some impacts on some of our species as well. So I'm actually interested to see how far that goes. I'll keep an eye on that. Cannibalism is a significant problem in largemouth bass farming, resulting in reduced yield, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, we know this. Okay, so the study aims to explore the use of alternative feed sources and feeding strategies to reduce aggression and cannibalism in farmed largemouth bass. So, obviously, feed management, grading and things like that are already things that are done here with a lot of our species. The research team hopes to develop practical solutions that can be... okay. All right, so I thought it was going to be something to do with select breeding or something like that. Hopefully that does come into it. If anyone watching this is connected with that, definitely look at the work that Australia's done with barramundi in reducing cannibalism through more frequent grading and also feeding introduction, feeding management, lighting, things like that. But still interested to see where that goes to. Excuse me. Okay, WINAA Summit 2024. Women leaders essential to grow aquaculture everywhere. Jeez, oh. It's like the internet's predicting what I'm saying the week before. The WINAA Summit 2024 emphasised the importance of women leaders in the aquaculture industry to drive growth and innovation. Yes, thank you very much. Does everyone love my cup? That's my my son got that for me. Yeah, like I said, women are just, their brains are wired differently to us, and they can see levels of detail and they notice levels of detail much more often, much more regularly, and as part of, I don't even know, attention to detail that they excel at, that really, especially with fish health and fish husbandry. My God, data, interpreting data or research, all sorts of stuff. Need I go on, but I will. Someone highlighted the need for greater diversity and inclusion in the aquaculture industry, particularly in leadership positions. Yep. Women leaders in aquaculture can bring new perspectives and skills to the industry, helping to drive innovation and sustainability. Yes, I've already said this. The summit called for greater support and resources to be dedicated to promoting women in aquaculture and addressing the challenges they face. Thank you very much. Like I said last week in a couple of other videos, as I said, Polly Hilda is one of those women, and yeah, if the future is bright, I'm looking forward to it. Next on the list, study assesses feasibility of aquaculture wastewater treatment methods. Okay, so I'll start right. I think I've gone over this before. I'll start right now by saying I am appalled at the fact that every single fish farm does not utilize their waste stream right down to sludge. Okay, there is a huge opportunity for soil amendments, fertilizers, things like that. That is just, it's an untapped resource. I don't Okay, I'll go on though. I'll read this. Okay, so study assesses feasibility for aquaculture wastewater treatment methods. Researchers at Purdue University conducted a study to assess the feasibility of different wastewater treatment methods for aquaculture facilities. The study evaluated the effectiveness of various treatment technologies, including biological and chemical treatments. Okay, yeah. The study team found that some treatment methods were more effective than others in removing pollutants and improving water quality. The study's findings have implications for the development of sustainable aquaculture practices and the protection of water resources. Thank you. Imagine if we could just, instead of pumping the water back to the environment, utilize it somewhere. Like to water plants, like aquaculture, like agriculture, all of these areas around here. You would be surprised at what people will pay for high nitrogen wastewater, high nitrogen, high phosphorus wastewater, as well as then the solid amendments that you get from the solids and things like that. Composting. Yeah, to say more. It's been around for 1,000,000 years. The future of land-based aquaculture will depend on the development of more. Yes, I just went over that. Okay. Yep. So, yes, a pool doesn't happen more often. As a horticulture enthusiast, a home gardener, and a bonsai practitioner, not a very good one, I might add. This just makes perfect sense to me. But let's move on. Global fisheries and aquaculture production reaches a new record high. Okay, right. So this might be a little bit of a double up on a couple of things from the other week. According to a report by the FAO of the United Nations, global fisheries and aquaculture production reached a new record high in 2023. Yes, I've doubled up here, right. So, Norway's aquaculture production reaches record high in 2023. Norway, Iceland, all of these areas really pumping out the product, and in a massive growth stage at the moment. Norway's aquaculture production reached a record high in 2023, with many farms increasing their production of farm salmon and other species. This has, I've noticed it on a supplier level with a lot of international suppliers and people and equipment that I utilize. They're branching out into other areas of the industry. They're branching out into other areas, and they're seeing phenomenal growth. Take MP Innovations' purchase of Aqua for example. The growth of aquaculture in Norway is driving an increase in the country's seafood exports, with many countries around the world importing Norwegian seafood. And it makes sense, those Norway, Baltic Sea, those areas, pretty much Russia, pretty much a straight connection for those areas to America and Europe, or Russia for that matter. The growth of that's the one I just went over. The industry also faces challenges in industry, including concerns about the environmental impact of aquaculture and the need for more sustainable practices. We know that's to do with any farming system. I might add, however, that I feel as though aquaculture is really carving a very much more focused path for sustainable practices and protecting the environment than perhaps other areas of protein production. Not that I'm overly familiar with it, that's just the feeling I have. Norway is a leader in sustainable aquaculture practices, with many farms using advanced technologies to reduce their environmental footprint. Again, it's in a massive growth stage, and they are not afraid of adopting new or improved technology to improve their farming practices, as we all should be in 2024. For God's sake, it is 2024. The Norwegian government is also implementing policies to promote sustainable aquaculture practices to protect the country's marine ecosystems. Great. That needs no more said about it. Scottish aquaculture sees growth in 2023. Scottish aquaculture, has been really pushing forward, predominantly with salmon, but they do have some other species over there as well. The industry is a significant contributor to the Scottish economy, with many jobs and businesses depending on aquaculture. just so happens that one of their other biggest exports is Scotch, which, I mean, they both involve water. How about that? The Scottish Government is implementing policies to promote sustainable aquaculture practices and to promote the country's marine ecosystems. Many Scottish farmers are also adopting advanced technologies to reduce their footprint. This is all good news. Moving on into Iceland, new aquaculture facility opens in Iceland. The farm is expected to produce over 10,000 tonnes a year of farmed salmon. The facility uses advanced recirculating aquaculture technology to minimise water waste and reduce the environmental impact on aquaculture. Obviously, I'm going to be very happy about this. The farm is owned by a leading Icelandic seafood company and is expected to create new jobs and stimulate economic growth in the region. Iceland is known for its pristine marine environment and strong aquaculture industry, with many farms using sustainable practices to minimise their impact on the environment. The wild catch industry is obviously very big over there, as it is in Europe, like the Baltic Sea and all those areas that I mentioned before. New facility is part of a growing trend in Iceland to develop more sustainable and efficient aquaculture practices. Okay, so how I will say this links into other stories that have been popping up, Ballon being now purchased by Pure Salmon and research design and things like that. And there is arguments for both cage farming and recirculating aquaculture. Cage farming utilizes recirculating aquaculture for a huge part, a significant part of their growth cycle being the smolt cycle, with a lot of companies producing super smolts now. Human aquaculture, Wild Point, perfect example. A Ballund design, a Ballund system. Patrick Tiggs from Ballund, Australia, now Pure Salmon, I would imagine, built that system. I've seen photos. I've never been in. I would love to go in it. I've never seen photos of it though. But I've only seen photos of it. I've never been in it. Sorry, it's early and it was late night last night. But I'd love to at some point. Recirculating aquaculture on that scale is just face-meltingly nerd overload. So the point I'm getting at is that if recirculating aquaculture design is done correctly, with all of the things we know now that would just be better, but to minimize the problems or whatever it might be, or the technology we have, or the more research that gets done on water remediation, farm salmon on land is happening. It is profitable now, and it's only getting better. And Iceland, Norway, all these areas are all starting to adopt on land salmon farming, especially if they can put it close to distribution centres. Obviously, that's a massive reduction in cost, which is where the majority of the benefit of research systems is, because you can put them anywhere, within reason. Okay, aquaculture industry seeks to address challenges at GAA's Goal 2024 conference. Conferences over the past 2 years have just been massive. It's been great, both in the aquaculture and the aquarium industry. The aquaculture industry is coming together to address some of the key challenges facing the sector at the Global Aquaculture Alliance's Goal 2024 conference. Excuse me. The conference brings together industry leaders, researchers, the policymakers, and policymakers to discuss some of the most pressing issues in aquaculture. These types of conferences that are really focused around research are just fantastic. I really look forward to the day where I can just go to a conference and just listen to every talk that I want to listen to, and just leave other people to man the stand, like being on the other side of the fence most of the time, as the person displaying rather than the person listening to the info. Global Aquaculture Alliance is the leading industry organisation that promotes best practices and sustainability in aquaculture. It's a key event for the aquaculture industry, providing a platform for leaders to share knowledge, experience, and innovations. And that's why these things are so bloody important, because it brings all of the research to one spot for everyone to see and brings it to light and makes people, it lets people know about it. And they're looking at running a range of workshops, panels, presentations on key topics: feed management, disease control, and seafood safety. I mean, I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. USDA announces $1 million in funding for aquaculture research. That pretty much wraps up that point. The research will be conducted by a range of institutions, including universities, research centres, and private companies. Okay, so it's going to be split up. That's good. To support more research into sustainable and efficient aquaculture practices, including the use of advanced technologies and new feed sources. Now, I see Australian all over the world this is happening, and people see some people hear the sustainable, reduce environmental impact, things like that, and the mindset of some people going, oh, this is bad, it's going to restrict us and things like that. But it's these we shouldn't be scared of these words, because these words are actually pushing positive growth, change, and positive efficiencies in the aquaculture industry. And as I said, or as I have said on many occasions, excuse me, the research industry and university, and especially the younger generation now coming into the aquaculture industry, is really going to make all the difference in the next 10 to 15 years. It already is. Okay, growth of large-scale fisheries could hamper marine aquaculture industry. The growth of large-scale fisheries in Maine could have a negative impact on the state's aquaculture industry, according to a report by the University of Maine. The report found that large-scale fishing operations can lead to overfishing and damage to marine habitats, which can harm the local aquaculture industry. This would be for species such as salmon, mussels, and oysters, for many farms that produce those sorts of seafood species. Look, yes. However, I think that if there's enough awareness raised about it, that commercial fishing and aquaculture practices can work hand in hand. They do at the moment. They need to. One is not the enemy of the other. But there needs to be regulations on pollution and things like that. I understand. Wish them luck. Looking forward to seeing what happens there, because it happens all over the world, especially in Australia as well. The whole stigma of farm versus wild caught, so on and so forth. I mean, it's just erroneous. I mean, we produce some of the best sashimi kingfish in the world, and it's farmed. The Japanese prefer our, some Japanese prefer our kingfish. It's high quality sashimi grade. And it's farmed. So there you go. UMBC's Jonathan Zohar to lead $10 million partnership to scale up land-based salmon aquaculture. The University of Maryland in Baltimore County has announced a $10 million partnership to develop and scale land-based salmon aquaculture. The partnership, led by Professor Jonathan Zohar, aims to develop more efficient and sustainable methods for raising salmon in land-based systems. Love it. These sort of things where they actually focus on raising salmon in land-based systems rather than just studying it and putting out a report with the data, where they actually develop a system, is where I believe, get the most value. Because they look at the things that work, they look at the things that don't, and predominantly it's an impartial product development and impartial process evaluation, which is fantastic. Land-based aquaculture is a growing trend in the industry, with many farms using recirculating aquaculture system technology. Yes, okay. Partnership includes a range of industry partners. So I think what people need to look at funding of research like is it's like the open source world of software on computers, right? So open source developers see a problem, they see they see a resource that hasn't been utilized that could potentially be utilized, and they write code and systems to do it, to utilize it. They put it up on they put it up on open source websites like GitHub, or Hugging Face, or Docker, or whatever, and they use that, and they use it, and they get all sorts of people putting in on the development to develop it better for everyone for free. And the benefit being, obviously, is that we get this data for free, but we need access to the data. We need to know where to find it, and that's where conferences and things come in, and where maybe hopefully things like this might spur you to go and search for it to see what it's about. Maybe. Okay. Just in general, land-based aquaculture has really, well, I mean, this is nothing new, but over the past sort of 5 years, it's really started to really kick some goals. And you see it pop up more and more, and it's not something to be ignored. If it was, it wouldn't still be getting developed and still be getting improved upon, regardless of the fact that it's an incredibly efficient production system already, for a variety of species. So that's the wrap up for today. I will have a few more videos coming out this week. I've had to, because of all of the opportunities for different videos that I've found and people that I'm talking to and things, I'm not going to be doing a 5-minute fundamentals every single day. I'm going to be, putting up a different video on a different subject every day. Obviously, I missed yesterday. It should have been this yesterday. But it'll be today, and then maybe tomorrow or Thursday or something. Just keep the trickle going of different stuff. And that way I don't run out of things to talk about too quickly. And and I don't, burn out trying to do, 2 or 3 videos a day. So, yeah, we will continue on. Everyone have a pleasant week, and I will hopefully be talking to some of you, engaging with some of you soon. Thank you very much. See you later.